All right, we're gonna start this time using blue. I'm gonna get my blue paint. And rolling it on the plate. I realized that I thought I was videotaping and didn't videotape the whole thing. So we're gonna go now with a darker first layer. Remember, whatever you put on first is the first color on the bottom. So you have to think reverse. Takes a while, I'm still trying to get the hang of that. Oh, that fell, it will stay on the floor. All right. Hold a little bit so that it's not too dark, because I do want to put white over it. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the houses while it's still wet, just because last time they didn't stick enough. So yes, I got several of these when I was at Lowe's. Okay. Paint over these with the blue that I have, but I don't want to touch that area. Okay, so I'm going to let it dry. All right, before it dries completely, I do want to add texture like I did on the other one. So I'm getting a little scrap of plastic bag. Probably can use garbage bags, like, you know, from the supermarket. But this is from a bag that a t-shirt came in. All right, and I'm gonna let that, I just cut it up and scrunched it. I'm gonna let that dry, because what it does is it pull the paint. So now when I go over it with another layer of paint, the see-through paint, like now if I lay over it with white, you'll see the white and the blue, and I think it'll give us a good effect. All right, so now I'm gonna get some white titanium white paint, and I am going to, I'm gonna put it here. Sometimes I like to roll here better because I feel like I have less chance of lifting paint from the plate. Sometimes if I just add the paint directly onto the plate, once there's already paint underneath, I over rub or over roll, and it lifts up the paint that I don't want. So as you can see, while you're doing this, you're actually creating two pieces of art, or several pieces of art, because the paint samples are getting covered with paint, and you're getting these random patterns. And then later on, you'll be able to use those for a project. You can cut them out or leave them like that and paste them in a collage project, which is what I'm probably going to be doing with them. Paint the back of it, or you can stick it on something and then cut it out. But if you paint the back of it and you paint the front, and you can, it's already hole punched basically, and you can tie a string and let it hang, or I don't know, I was even thinking of doing a little banner with these, because these are like those banner shapes. So maybe for another class. Now let us lift houses, what I'm calling houses, are tall houses. You see what's happening, right? It lifted up all of the blue paint that was there, and it's kind of leaving an outline of the blue, which I wasn't thinking that would happen, but I'm really liking that. Let me put the samples over there. I'm really liking that. So I think I am going to use a little bit of white that I have here. Let me think about this. No, I'm gonna go back to purple. I'm gonna add my purple back here. Once again, I blocked too much of it on. So let me roll it on some of this stuff that's happening over here. I know it looks messy, but later on, it'll look really cool. And this deli paper really takes a beating and doesn't tear that easily, which is great. Just covering it up. Some cool shapes. All right. So, making sure, once again, now I just want to stay in the lines of, or in the area, that negative space that was revealed now when I lifted up. It's okay if it goes a little bit out, you know, but I kind of want to stay in there. And now I can just use some of this purple right here, because remember, I'm going to be using this leftover butcher paper later on for a project. All right, so now I want to create textures here. So I'm going to use my little texture block that I made, and I'm just going to lightly press it. And I can also use these to stamp. And I'm going to use the star shape. I do not want to overdo it. I'm going to add now some gloss gel medium to the whole thing so I can do a pull. This time I kept it separate. It's still a little wet on the top, so you see that it's reacting with the paint that's underneath. Quickly, white copy paper or any type of paper you want to use. I'm going to press lightly because I kind of want to get a darker second print. All right, pulling. This is my first print. Okay, now I am going to just add a little bit more of the gel medium. Just a little bit. I think it's still slightly wet. I'm going to roll it up here. I'm going to get some of this purple that was still here because I want to roll that so to make this a little darker again. And now I'm going to use cardstock